Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we're going to be taking a look at GoComics and Comics Kingdom. Now what these are is they're both two independent websites which collate a load of daily and Sunday newspaper strips, and you can sort of go on their website, choose however many you'd like to receive each day and get them emailed to you, or you can just go to the site bookmarked and read each one as you go along. So I absolutely love this service and I think you're going to love it too. We're also going to be taking a look at Scott Nicol. Now Scott does one of my favourite strips on GoComics called Eek, and it's like humour in a horror vein, as it were, and I absolutely love it. We're going to be having a look at that and also some of his original artwork. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. I've been a fan of both GoComics and Comics Kingdom for many years now. These are an easy way to get a daily fix of both classic and new comic strip action, in a time when reading a physical newspaper seems a bit like a thing of the past. So first off, we'll have a look at GoComics. Now they were launched back in 2005 and originally designed just for mobile phones, but the site quickly expanded and launched a superb website where you can dive into a few hundred different comic strips. You simply create a free account and then select the comics that you want to start reading each day. They are saved, and each time you log in, you get to see that day's comics. Now don't worry if you miss a day, you can go back as far as you want. In fact, one comic I found so good, Eek by Scott Nicol, I went back over 10 years to the very earliest strips to read them all from the beginning. Now if you can't get to the website each day, you can opt to subscribe, so the strips are sent to your email inbox. Now it's only $19.99 for an entire year, and you're helping the artists at the same time. Sometimes I wait for a few days to build up and then I binge them in one sitting. So the strips that I subscribe to here on GoComics, and this is completely adjustable so you can take some off if you get bored or add a few more on if you want a bit more variety. So in rough order, we've got BC. Now this is Johnny Hart's classic strip that puts a prehistoric caveman twist on everything. It's an absolute classic and I love it. Harley. Now Harley is like a classic biker and he's got a riding companion, that's his cat. There are a couple of freewheeling amigos. Gasoline Alley, which is a good-natured continuing story, a positive sort of slice of life. Garfield Classics, well, it's the original Garfield in classic form, right back from the very beginning. I mean, everyone loves a bit of Garfield, especially his love of lasagna. Basic Instructions. Now, this is now in a rerun, and now this is quite a disturbing strip, but sometimes it's quite brilliant. So it's one of those ones you're just going to have a look at and see if you fancy it. Frank and Ernest. Now, this one is almost indescribable in the variety on offer here. I love the strip though, so you should check it out, but it's just, you've got to read it before making a decision. It's just mad. Next is Eek. Now this is currently my favourite strip on both sites. It's sort of comic strips with a horror vein, so you get to see universal monsters, Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon, undead zombies, floating brains and eyes in jars. You get the idea. It's just fantastic and it really deserves your attention. I really have become a fan of this one. Endtown. So this is the end of civilization as we know it and what happens after it. It's not updated that regularly, but it's still a good one. Drabble. So that's a crazy family. So it's maybe not for everyone, but I am enjoying it. Doonesbury. So this is another real classic here. Now, these are a selection of the very best storylines going back decades. They are thoughtful and well worth your time. Doonesbury's no longer being made, but this is just like the cream of the crop. Dick Tracy. So everyone's heard of Dick Tracy. So this is new stories featuring the timeless detective, but in the original art and writing style. Cul-de-sac. So this is a light-hearted strip about a youngster along with her friends and what they get up to stuck in their little cul-de-sac. Now Bozo, this is a real vintage strip. Now these are simple gags that are beautifully rendered and it's now almost 90 years old. Wondermark. Now this is a strip that's been put together from vintage illustrations. Wildly bizarre but very clever. Definitely worth a look for sure. Back to BC. So this is the original BC cartoons from back in 1958 onwards. Absolutely amazing. Got another one here, The New Adventures of Queen Victoria. I think since I've subscribed to this, I've not had a new episode, so I'm not going to pass judgment yet, but it looked pretty good. The Argyle Sweater. Now this is a surreal and hilarious look at the world, usually just a one-panel strip. For better or for worse, that's a superb slice of life strip that's been going since 1979. Pearls Before Swine. This is becoming a real favourite. So this is about a rat and a pig and their take on life. And it's just fantastic and I absolutely love it, and I'm sure you will too. So check out Pearls Before Swine. Non Sequitur. So this is massively popular, this strip, and it's being syndicated in 700 newspapers around the world. It's a look at the absurdities of life. Working Daze is another one which I've just started subscribing to, so I'm not going to pass comment yet, but it might be one you want to check out. You've got Ripley's Believe It or Not, so that's like a comic strip version of the weird records and surprises and mysterious and curious stories. It's pretty good. Fred Basset, so the classic Basset Hound. It's timeless. I absolutely love it. It reminds me of watching the cartoon on the BBC back in the day. Luann, this is the trials of becoming a young adult. It's an absolute classic. And you've got Luann again, which is right back from the start, 28 years ago. So it runs concurrently 28 years after the strips were first published. Now, Broom Hilda. So this follows the adventures of Broom Hilda and her friends. This one is superb and you'll definitely need to check it out. It's got a great art style. I really like it along the lines of Eek, although it's something a little bit different, but still great stuff. Foxtrot. So this is sibling rivalry and generational struggles. Another long-running classic which follows the Foxtrot gang. And I also subscribe to Foxtrot Classics, which is more of the same, but it's a rerun of the earlier strips. Annie. Now, I kid you not, this is absolutely fantastic. It's really amazing. I cannot tell you how much I've been enjoying this strip, and I'm sure you will too. Just give it a chance. It's just the storylines and the artwork. Fantastic. Really, really good. Andy Capp, another British classic. It's a little sedated nowadays, and it is starting to look its age, but it's still good fun. Calvin and Hobbes, an absolute classic. No more really needs to be said about this. Classic Garfield, great stuff, every single day. I'm sure you'll love it. Peanuts, my absolute all-time favourite comic strip. Completely timeless and absolutely fantastic. I've read the entire almost 50-year run of Peanuts, and I'm loving dipping into them on a daily basis. Just great. Dilbert Classics. So I loved these when they were first released. I think I started reading Dilbert back in the 80s. They are still absolutely awesome today and really, really great fun. The Wizard of Id. Another Johnny Hart classic. Not quite as good as BC, but still awesome. And finally from GoComics, Tarzan. So this is beautiful artwork and stories. It's a real revelation, these, and I recommend you checking out those original Tarzan strips. This might seem like a lot, but some strips aren't every day, but a few times a week. On a Sunday, you get the extended and full colour versions, just like it used to be in the papers. You can save strips as favourites, share them on your social media, leave comments for the artists and or other fans, and even order a print of that day's cartoon. Other highlights of GoComics are the blog features on the artists and the strips, although I'd like to see a lot more of this content. Real in-depth history on the strips is what's needed. Anyway, it's epic, there's loads to see, and I'm sure you'll love it. Now a quick thanks to my epic patron and channel members. Now on to Comics Kingdom. So Comics Kingdom features the comic strips which are owned by King's Features Syndicate. So if there's a particular strip you were looking for in GoComics and couldn't find it, chances are that's because it's on here. Now this site doesn't have as many different strips as GoComics, but there's still a lot of great stuff to be enjoyed. It works the same way. You select your comics from a list and add them to your favourites. You can come back each day and view them online, or have them emailed to you to pick up whenever you have a moment. The cost is the same as GoComics, $19.99 for a whole year. And of course, like GoComics, you can get a free trial. So the comics I follow on this particular website are as follows. So Zippy the Pinhead, Crazy fun from Zippy the Pin-Headed Clown. Good stuff on the whole. This one's been going for years, and I certainly enjoy it on the whole. Popeye, well, an absolute classic. I love a bit of Popeye. Rhymes with Orange. Now this has got a lovely art style which covers all manner of subjects. It's really, really recommended. The Amazing Spider-Man. So this is classic Stan Lee comic strips, and these are great. They were written, they're not adapted from the traditional American comics. These were purposely written by Stan Lee as a daily comic strip, and they are great. Heart of Juliet Jones. Now this is an old time strip that's been really growing on me. Once again, I love the art style. It's just a shame some of these that you're going to see now are black and white, so they don't quite have the same appeal, but still really good. Rip Kirby, so that's another older classic, and it's got great storytelling. The Thimble Theatre, so this is more classic Popeye. Pros and cons, and this one's quite difficult to describe. I think you're just going to have to take a look at that. Mandrake the Magician. So this is classic strips with those great long involved storylines, and Mandrake the Magician Sundays is more of the same, it's just in colour. Hagar the Horrible, so everyone's favourite Viking. Absolutely brilliant. I've loved Hagar since I remember reading the daily comic strips, and I'm so glad to find him on here. Bizarro. Now this is a one-off panel, usually a single gag, beautifully drawn, definitely recommended. Radio Patrol. This is classic 1940s crime strips, definitely recommend that one. The Phantom Sundays. This is classic Sunday strips, really good ongoing stories. Prince Valiant. So these are the original Prince Valiant strips, just beautiful, and I really, to be honest, wish this was daily. There's so much to get through. And there's Prince Valiant Sundays. Now this is the same brilliant strip, and it's the colour companion to the other Prince Valiant. Flash Gordon, so you've got classic space strips, you know what to expect with Flash Gordon, and then you've got the Flash Gordon Sundays, so more of the same but in beautiful colour. And then you've got Flash Forward, which is even more Flash Gordon comic strips. And then finally Popeye's Cartoon Club, which is even more classic Popeye action. So quite a few vintage comics in there, but it's stuff that I've never read before. Like GoComics, there's a blog which is updated every few days, as well as ways to buy prints and other related merchandise. There are a few strips I'd love to see get picked up. One is the 1960s James Bond series, which is excellent, and the Judge Dredd strip from the mid-1980s, which was also awesome. I can only think that there must be copyright issues with these in getting them licensed. I'd also like to see the classic The Perishers get reprinted on one of these. Now earlier I mentioned how much I was loving Scott Nichol's Eek strip. Well, I dropped Scott an email, and like many hard-working artists, he was able to sell me a few pieces of original artwork at a very reasonable cost. Now I'm going to get these framed up with the finished colour versions, and I think they'll look fantastic. Well, there you go. I do hope that's inspired you to take a look at these great sites. If so, let me know in the comments if there's a strip that you think I should be reading each day. I'll give anything a try. Thanks very much for watching today. If you've not already, do hit that subscribe button, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.